Okay, we are back here and we're going to take another crack at a video here for you today, and hopefully it's going to be stimulating, exciting, and titillating. I like that word, titillating. Titillating. There I was titillating down the street, and I had a titillating conversation with that titillating person at the corner store. Oh, it was just a titillating day. Doesn't that sound eloquent? I think so. Good way to start off a video. A little hit from a flower. Hey, we're off to the races here. Okay. We do have a topic in mind here. Okay, now this is going to be signs you may be coming into union with your twin flame, part 2. 1, 2. And again, we're going to stick to the emotional aspect of it here again, because it's crucially important that we do so, because the emphasis is now getting into a serious situation where the emotional understanding needs to get a little deeper as to what's going on, because we have a lot of people in many different aspects of the emotional crisis and stages that are going on with the union. Now, hopefully, a person to this point has reached somewhat of a union with themselves, if we can put it that way. And the way I kind of want to open this up today is there's a segment here in the twin flame community who have been together already with their twin flame. They've had their kick at the can, so to speak. They're either in separation or it's ended totally, and both have gone different ways. And in many cases, during the time of separation or when it's done or over, the two individuals, sometimes, yes, both of them, have tried to date other people, even tried to be intimate with other people, and it just didn't work. Okay? So, what do? They either withdraw from going into relationships at all and move on, or they try to understand what's going on with them at this particular point. And the example I'd like to use here is there are two possibilities that are here for these people. And the one possibility is that somewhere along the line, they've reached such a level of spiritual maturity and authenticity and in such union with themselves that they have become and achieved an androgynous state of being and mind where they no longer really need, if that's the right word, need, want, or desire a person in their other life, okay, together with them. Now, that may be expressing at the soul level, which is a little different from the actual 3D waking consciousness of the individual. And this is what they may go through when they're at that particular stage. They may try to go out and date, and then finally they come to the realization that they have achieved that androgynous state. Now, that may be for some of them, but it's probably not for all of them. On the other hand, the other possibility is that the person in question has, by definition, reached the point where they have gotten so emotionally attached to that particular person or their twin flame, whatever you want to call it, and they are simply unable, for whatever reason, to let it go of the attachment, that they find they can't function with anybody else. However, I want to make mention here also of something that I need to address here again, and this is a process that I myself have going through and are still ongoing through it, where there, and I did this in a video before, and I think it's worth repeating here at this particular point. 5 or 6 years ago, and as you used to start in the springtime, I've always had a relatively open heart center chakra all of the time. And I've gone through a lot of the confusion that a lot of people have in the past, of which I've mentioned in another video. But at one point I noticed, because I'm more of a feeler type person than a seer, I'm very empathic for other people. I'm very telepathic with other people, but I'm also very empathic and telepathic with myself, which needs to be remembered. Okay. You can be very empathic and telepathic with yourself, and your body can literally, telegraph to you what the hell's going on as a process within it if you're really empathic with yourself. And I started having this situation happen where I would get emotional. Now, you know what happens when you get emotional? You get that feeling in your belly, and you just feel that the cauldron stewing away there, and you just know it's going to snap, crackle, and pop, and something's going to come up relatively shortly. What I noticed happening is when I would start to get emotional, I would feel this really weird sensation of almost like a stream of energy kind of running up from my belly around the navel area. It would kind of push up the middle of my chest and it would go into my heart center chakra. And suddenly that cauldron of emotions that was stewing and brewing down there for whatever reason that somebody may have triggered or somebody did to me or whatever, all right? And I would feel it going up and it would just seem to diffuse and dissipate at the heart center, and I wouldn't have all of that ucky, gooey, soupy, cauldronish type of bubbly, frothing, seething, gurgling mass of emotions and feelings in it anymore. It would kind of come out here, and I'd still feel the emotion. Now, it's very weird to describe. I would feel the emotion, but it didn't contain all of the condiments. There you go. There's the right word. It can't contain all the condiments, all the other goodies that went along with it. And I'm going to myself, like, what the fuck is going on here? I don't understand what's going on. And this went on for, I think, about 3 or 4 months, and it stopped, and then the next year it picked up again, and the next year it picked up again. And then suddenly I really started to notice some really behavioral changes in myself. I started to notice I didn't feel the way other people were feeling anymore. I didn't react to situations that other people reacted anymore. I didn't get upset when I used to get upset with individuals and situations. And I found that things that bothered me culturally, or any kind of prejudices or jealousies or any kind of belief system that I had about politics or religion and many other things, just seemed to kind of dissipate. And they were kind of like gone. And I was just kind of, look at people as they were doing all of the things that they do. And I'm saying, geez, are they ever going to get over this shit? Are they ever going to kind of grow up? And I could see adults in these big bodies, and some of them were really old, okay? Not like me, young spring chicken. Okay, they were really old, and they were still carrying the belief systems and the emotions and the feelings of what they had when they were 15 and 16 and 17 and 18 years old. I'm saying, holy shit, man, what's going on? So I realized what was taking place is the whole of my vibration was beginning to change, and it was beginning to evolve. And I started to understand that if this is happening to me, it's got to be happening to other people on the planet also. So as it went along, what I realized is I was moving literally from the old experience that I've talked about in many of my videos, from the emotional experience of love, all right, relationship and sexuality. I actually was able to thumbnail it, all right, and realized that I was now expressing what I used to express in emotions through those kind of feelings. I still was expressing feelings. It's just hard to put into words. Because now I express feelings. I have feelings. I can feel sadness. I can feel sorrow. But I don't feel it down here. I feel it up here, and it's different. It's a different feeling. It doesn't have all of the gooey stuff that goes along with it, and you want to fall apart and become a wuss or, a puddle on the floor, and you just want to blow up and explode. The things that used to make me angry don't make me angry anymore. So I'm figuring, like, what is happening? And I realized that what was happening is the more I seem to have gone through this process of pulling up the old cauldron of feelings and emotions and putting them up here, the bigger the heart center seemed to get. and the more energy I seemed to be able to emanate through it, and it didn't catch me by surprise. Sometimes I used to have heart center openings, like I call them gasms, okay? Heart gasms, that's what I call them. You'd have this gasm in the heart center and you just feel like a big puddle of whoosh, all they're gonna melt kind of thing. Well, now I have them all the time and the heart center's open all the time, but I don't have the gushy, whooshy, and the rest of it. It's stable and it feels nice kind of thing, pretty much all of the time. And I started to realize that when you have this stage or this vibration, what happens is anything that you had in the past that was vibratorily or vibratorily linked with you, if it didn't move with you or move up with vibration with you, you had to leave it behind. And this included belief systems, ideologies, philosophies, etc., that I was mentioning. So what's happened is basically this is what's taking place with a lot of people. And the whole concept of the emotional body now has changed for me. And what I notice now is and this will be happening to other people also, because this is where we're all going to go with some variation, of course. Okay? I'm just giving you my personal experience, which is not going to be the same for everybody else. There'll be some variations according to, whatever life experiences you had, whatever culture, you were raised in, and also whatever environment, genetic or hereditary or soul growth that you came into, there will be variation. The process is all the same. The process is all the same, but the variations are unique to each individual depending upon the experiences that they've had. So what it did was, it now allowed me to do something that I hadn't done since the very beginning of my spiritual awakening some 35 years ago. And at that particular point, I did something when I started with the very first inkling of Heart Center and Kundalini Awakening. I took a whole year off. I went into a sabbatical. I didn't date anyone. I didn't go out with anyone. I wasn't living with anyone. I didn't want to be with anyone. And I just spent some time with the most wonderful person on the planet, the Melvinator. And I really got to be fond of the Melvinator. I liked him. And I like him a lot more even now. And what happened was I formulated a concept because I didn't know what love was at that point. So I wrote it down, what I thought love was. And over the course of the year, I revised that about 4 or 5 times. Now what's happened at this stage, when I got to this process and this came relatively completed, I find myself revising my concept of love again. And I'm revising my concept of relationship again. And I am definitely finding out that I'm revising my concept of sexuality, because sexuality, as we've known it in the past, is not true sexuality at all. What it is our sexual expression is nothing more than a containment field of belief systems, ideologies, and philosophies that dictate to, listen to that, dictate to, hey, that was a nice little flub, good for a chuckle, that dictate to the expression of our sexual energy, which really isn't our own, because we have not identified our sexual energy as our own. We've only identified it as expressing through us, which is muddied by the input and the influence of others to this point. That in turn has caused a lot of viruses and a lot of malfunctions and distortion of sexual energy at this point. Are you following me so far here? Getting a little deep for you? I'm sure some of you are going right along with me. Some others saying, oh, there's Millie's off on a tangent again. Not really. So anyways, this is what's taking place. So when it comes to the emotional part of it, the situation here with some of the people who cannot, for whatever reason, be with anyone else, what has happened is this, and this is not a criticism or a judgment of you, be that who you may, is your frequency and vibration has stayed in a particular locked-in situation. And it's concluded at 2 possibilities. One, as I've mentioned, you've become completely androgynous, and you no longer require or need the presence of a male-female because you are a unified field within yourself, and you can actually experience all of the sensual sexual experiences that you want within yourself without connecting with another, and you no longer recognize the male-female body as a vehicle per se. So you have become androgynous, you have returned to form. At that point, if that has happened, you then would be more than likely be dedicated the rest of your life to service to humanity in some form or way, be it you are a male or a female in some way, and you basically would have no interest in the other thing. On the other hand, the other possibility is you have gotten so emotionally attached to the individual in question that your body will not function because your emotional body won't let it with another person. Now I want to repeat that. If you're on the other side of the coin and you cannot be with another person because it's just not the same as your original, it's because your body is being dictated to by the emotional body, which is holding you at a frequency because you are attached emotionally to that particular individual. How you evolve beyond that, if you so choose to do, and you have to make a choice to be able and want to do that, and you have to decide if this is the case for you. What you need to do is, if you're on either side of the fence here, what you need to do, especially in this case here, you need to take a look at the point of origin and say to yourself, okay, I don't think I'm where Mel is talking about, that I'm totally an androgynous and I don't require or need another person because I'm a unified field unto myself. And if you can honestly say you're in that position, kudos to you. You're going home. On the other side of the coin, if you're still an individual who really are not being able to be with someone else, and if you still have the concept in your head that you want a relationship and you want someone to be with you, but you don't want anybody else because you want it to be your original twin flame, you've got a problem. All right, you do. Because if you want a relationship, then here's the issue that comes into play. One of the biggest problems that is happening in the twin flame community right now is this, and a lot of people promote this, that the only thing they want when the twin flame connection happens is a relationship with the one. That's all they care about, that's all they want. And as we go along and people grow and evolve, I see that that still hangs on to a great many people. And they don't realize that the twin flame opportunity is also part of the evolutionary process that's going on within your consciousness, your body, your mental, your emotional, and even your spiritual body, whether you choose to accept it or not. So what happens is, if you're at this point and you can defend yourself by saying, well, I'm a believer in that thing that if you have a twin flame, you can only have one, and you can only have one vibrational match with one person. There can't ever be another. My comment to you would be bullshit. And the reason that I would say that is for this. One of the things that I have an advantage of is because I do the work that I do, I get exposed to a lot of people going through different stages, different points, and different arrivals in the twin flame connection. And in the last few years, I've had a multitude of people come to me and they say to me, Mel, I don't know what the hell's going on, but remember when I told you I met my original twin flame and it was really going well and it all fell apart and then we just kind of separated and that's it? And I'll say, yeah, I remember. And you know what? He said, I met someone else and it's even stronger than the original. How can that happen, Mel? How can that happen? When you can only have one twin flame, like they say up on YouTube, and you can only have one vibrational mat. How can that happen, Mel? How can that happen? And my question is, yes, how can it happen? How can people keep saying that when it's not true? Because what happens when I did a little further query with the person, I asked her these questions. I said, from the time you were with your last twin flame, I said, did you grow? Did you evolve? Did you change? Did your heart center get bigger? Did your vibration expand and grow and evolve? Did your personality change? And she was going, yes, 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 and answering all of this. And I said, are you a different person than you were when you were with your original twin flame? She said, yeah. I said, is your vibration different now than what it was then? She said, absolutely. I said, could your vibration go back to that and stay there again? She said, no, I wouldn't want to. So I said to her, I said, this story that people tell you about, you can only have one vibrational match with one person and that's all you can ever have, is horseshit. She said, you're right, Mel, it is. It's horseshit. Because never in your life does your vibration ever going to stay the same. The only way your vibration can stay the same and you be in a perfect match with somebody is if you stay a whole lifetime and you don't grow one iota, period. You go through puberty, you reach your teenage or your young adult years, and after that you don't change or grow at all. You stay at that one vibrational pitch at a level. And that's the containment field for your soul. Okay? Your soul's vibrational match is that. Any soul coming into this reality wants the vibrational match to grow and evolve, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Period, people. There's no such thing as one perfect vibrational match and you stay that way for the rest of the incarnation. Come on, peep. Wake up. Stop listening to that horseshit. And in reality, this is what's taking place in many cases through a lot of the information that's being presented. So, when you get emotionally attached to someone, the process that I was previously talking about here, if, and I'm talking about this type of particular person, and I asked her this question, I said, let me ask you a question. I said, in the last couple of years, I said, have you had this experience where you were feeling nauseous in your stomach and you feel a swirling and suddenly you find your feelings are changing, you're not expressing them the way that you used to express them, and you know you're feeling your heart center was getting bigger and you were not getting upset about the things you got upset before, and you know things that you believed in suddenly didn't seem to matter that much, and when people are talking about certain things you just thought it was silly and frivolous. She goes, yeah, how the hell did you know? And I told her, I said, because you've gone through the process that I'm talking about and you've answered the questions, you have realized something. No one, no soul coming into this reality stays at one particular vibrational match, and someone is ideally a vibrational match for them through a whole lifetime. The only way that that can be achieved is if you achieve a unified field of identity yourself with a balance of masculine and feminine, and you connect with someone else who has achieved the same thing in a unified field, either of the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever your choice may be, and they vibrate with you, and you vibrate continually changing and evolving and growing. As soon as one stops, refuses, or lets go, then the two of you no longer match frequency or vibration, and you can't stay together. This is not rocket science, folks. I figured it out, and I'm more stupid than more than you are. Most of you are so much smarter than me. I'm just a country boy passing through, talking to people on one side of the road, talking to people on the other side. What do I know? What do I know? I know what the hell I'm talking about. And there are many up here on YouTube that don't. Have a great day, everyone.